And I phoned my dad up. I said, Dad, I think I made a big mistake. I can't. I think I need to come back.
I know that there's a lot of people who listen and watch who will be in business, they'll be just starting up, there'll be young lads who look at people like yourself thinking, fuck, I want to be like Wayne, for whatever reason, but that's what they want. What's it like, the dark days and the adversity? Because you must have faced some shit times, mate, because it's not always going to be, you know what I mean? It's not always going to be bells and whistles. And
So I was getting really anxious and really upset that I'd gambled everything away. Because I sold everything, sold my house, my business, the lot. People started asking for pictures back in 2012 and I thought, oh, this is fun, this is cool. And then the next year got more, and the next year got more, and and now it's a thing. You know, you've not been to Ibiza unless you've had a picture with Lineker. I'm gonna let them dance on the tables. I'm gonna let them stand on the bar top. I'm gonna let them do whatever they want. You know, if they want to stand on the seats and have a dance, then let them stand on the seats. What's the problem? We're a really, really close family. He literally is me. He looks like me. He acts like me. He parties like me. Everything about him, his mannerisms, everything. I am looking for that person, but it's so difficult with me. In my business I'm in, who's going to put up with me? I've been hundreds of pictures a day with girls, and I'm a humble. If I'm anything, I'm humble. You know, I'll always believe to treat people like you want to be treated yourself, and I've always took that through my life, and I'll always be polite to people, and I think my family have seen that. They're all the same. They're all exactly the same. So I'm very proud of them for that.
so today, we are joined by Wayne Lineker, multiple business owner, entrepreneur, fruit and veg guy from back in the day.
Yes.
I thought I'd throw that in. Obviously, this has been a long time coming, mate. I've wanted to get you on the podcast for so long. I remember when I first started the podcast again, you were one of the names on the hit list. It's finally happened. I spoke. When we landed, I did a bit of a vlog to say, like, I believe in manifestation, all that type of stuff, mate. And you probably heard that a lot. But something I definitely am a big believer in. So to have you here, I just want to say, first and foremost, mate, thank you for inviting us to oBeach before it's even open. Obviously, you normally see this place when it's fucking rammed.
Yeah, it's a different feeling. But yeah, you can see how special it is really when it's empty.
So obviously, leading up to this point, I want to just take a little bit back, mate, from the start. Obviously, you don't have to go too far back. A lot of people know about who you are. But for the people who don't know or the unaware of oBeach or kind of your businesses you've got and things like that and the kind of all the success, mate, again, congrats for that. Early beginnings, mate, what happened?
Where did it all start?
Aye.
It all started when I was 14 years old. I left school. Yeah, because back in the day, you could get away with stuff like that. And my dad had a fruit and vegetable business on the market, Leicester Markets, which is the biggest independent market in Europe. It was a thriving business back then, used to do really well. But I was working weekends since I was 10 years old with him. And then when I was 14, I decided to go full-time, leave school, and then set on my way to, it's the start of, because by the time I was 15, I said to my dad, I really want to go on my own now. And he says, well, you can have some of the stalls and start out like that. And he gave me some stalls on a Monday, on a Wednesday, and a Thursday. And by the time I was 16, I had my own business. By the time I was 18, I think it was 20 odd people working for me. But yeah, it was a really great education. Because, like I say, back in the day, the fruit and veg markets were just thriving. You know, it's a hustle bustle, and you know you're shouting your head off, £2 of bananas, 30, all that sort of stuff.
And still hearing your voice, to be fair. I bet you could still sling out that now.
I could still sling it out, don't worry about that. Come on, girls, get your gums around me plums.
Okay,
all that.
Quality,
but yeah, it's funny. But yeah, that was the start of everything for me, because I was handling quite a lot of money, really. You know, going through the wholesale markets early in the morning. You know, I was 6 days a week, 16 hours a day. I used to work. I had no social life, really. And and that continued until I was 26, and then the market started taking a big dip because all the big supermarkets, your Asda's, your Sainsbury's and Tesco's, they all started opening, and they all started selling fruit and veg. Mm-hmm. It was like a one-stop shop, so it stopped people coming to the town centre for the fruit and veg. Yeah, and it was a massive decline in the space of 2 years. So I just thought, I've got to get out of this. It's not for me, this. I was 26. And my wife at the time, Dwayne and Sean's mum, she had parents that lived in Tenereff. So we used to frequently visit there. And I thought I'd love to live there. So I thought, So I wanted to move away from the markets and I wanted to move abroad. But I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was toying. And at that time, my brother was super famous. He was scoring goals, captain of England. And I thought, I have that same second name. So why don't I use it? So I opened a bar, called it Linekers. And the rest is history, really.
I want to jump in there. When you said you were 18-year-old, mate, you've got 20 staff working for you. So a couple of things spring to mind. I know when I was 18-year-old, I was probably just left drinking in parks. But 18-year-old, 20 staff working for you. Obviously, again, you've sacrificed your social life. You're a young lad, mate.
Yeah.
How the hell do you know how to manage 20 staff at 18?
I don't know, really, is the answer to that. It just happens, I guess. Obviously, starts with 2 or 3 staff, and then the busier you get, the bigger your business gets, the more stuff you take on. So therefore, it's a natural growth, really. But I sit back now and think, wow, that's pretty cool. You did that,
Yeah.
But at the time, you just crack on and you don't really think about it.
What's happening, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you are, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and press the notification bell so you don't miss another episode. Because I think if you're 18-year-old and obviously going through your 20s and stuff, you said obviously you had the same second name and all that type of stuff, so you want to use that to your advantage, which I get, and I understand any person would. But I don't necessarily believe you needed to use that, because obviously you've already got the success. Mate, I didn't know a single soul 18-year-old's got 20 lads working from.
Yeah.
So to be doing that's a talent in itself. I mean, I know what it's like.
At that time, the second name wasn't as big as what it was when I went to Tenereff.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was just a natural thing for me, because I wanted to open a sports bar, and and that's what it was, a sports / fun pub that we opened in Tenereff, and went there, found the premises. It was a great story behind this. I'll tell it you. So I'm like yourself. I believe manifestation, visions, and I was about 20. I was 25 at the time. Just before, 6 months before I left to go to Tenereff, I was going to get a sausage and tomato cob. We call them cobs in Leicester.
Aye.
And from the cafe. And I was on my way there. I was walking there. And it was days after I broke the news to my dad that I'm going to move away. He was upset about it, but he understood me. And I walked to the cafe, and I just got stood in my tracks. This mad vision came into my head. I saw this little bar with 3 round windows like portholes.
Yeah.
And inside the bar, it was all black with all pictures of sports people on there and footballers. And I saw the back of the bar, I saw the tables, I saw the front doors. And it was the maddest thing. It was clear as daylight. I'm like, whoa, what was that? So anyway, that was it. I left my mind after a few weeks, and then a few months later, when I moved to Tenereff, I spent about 3 months looking for a place. I couldn't find one, and I phoned my dad up. I said, "Dad, I think I made a big mistake. I can't. I think I need to come back." And he's going, "No, son, stick it out." So I thought, okay, because I was getting really anxious and really upset that I'd gambled everything away.
Yeah.
Because I sold everything, sold my house, my business, the lot. And then one morning, I got a phone call from an estate agent. He's gone, "Hello, Wayne." I've gone, "All right, mate." He's gone, "My name's Bill. And I've got a couple of properties that I want to show you for about a bar." I said, "Okay." So, he said the first one's in Patch, which is one of the developments that I wanted to be in, either Patch or Linekers, and at that time. And I pulled up in the car. I had a Seat Ibiza, to be honest. Funny that, isn't it? And I pulled up in my Seat Ibiza, and he was there waiting for me. And he went, I said, "Where is it?" He went, "There it is." And it had 3 round windows in it, 3 portholes.
Legit.
Legit. The maddest thing. I went, "I'll have it." He went, "You're not seeing it?" I said, "I don't need to." I said, "I'll have it." I went, "Show me anyway." I walked in there, it was exactly the same as my vision, the same shape, everything. And by the time, so I said, "Yeah, I'll have it." And I think it's the biggest deal quickest deal he's ever done. And it was mad because once it was all done up, it was exactly the same as what I saw in my vision. You know, I could take you to the very tile that I was stopped in my tracks on in the markets.
That's mad, that,
and and then we opened that. It just got so busy that we had to move premises. We moved to a premises called In Patch, which is close to Veronica's, which is the area to be in. And so yeah, we moved premises after a year or so, and then it was just phenomenal, really. I mean, I think Linekers Tenereff is, I'll still say it to this day, is the busiest bar that's ever been in existence, 365 days a year per square metre. It was ridiculous. It was a machine. It just didn't stop.
And how old were you, 26?
But that's back, I was 26, yeah. 27 when I moved into my new bar. And that was back when everyone used to go to Tenereff. It was like Ibiza then. And then what's changed everything is Tenereffe's a lot quieter now. It's more family resort. But at that time, all the youngsters used to go. And that's where everyone went. And it was mad times. But then EasyJet, Ryanair, all your short haul, bucket ticket flights, blah, 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 started happening. And then they were just laying on flights to Mallorca and Ibiza and short and cheap because they never used to fly to Tenereff at that time. So everyone started to come here. So yeah, that's how it happened. But at that time, we had probably 15 years just absolutely smashing it every night. It was like ridiculous.
Mate, do you know what I think's mad about that though? Like the risk you took, obviously. How did you have the balls? Truthfully, deep down as a lad, how do you have the balls to risk everything like that?
I think it was a case of having to because I saw where the markets were going. I mean, if you go around the fruit veg markets now, there's nothing there. It's very sad for me because if you could have seen it back in the day, it was unbelievable. It was just so busy, and it was just sad to see. And I thought, I've got to get out of this. I can't, and so I had to work out in my head what I wanted to do, and I chose the path of opening a bar because it's a very similar business. You're dealing with the public, you're speaking to the public. It's very sociable.
Understanding what they want as well.
Understanding what people want. I mean, if that's something I say I'm pretty good at is knowing what the public want and how to deliver it.
It's unbelievable, that, mate. From Tenereff days, obviously you've seen other flights going to a place like Ibiza and etc. Did you instantly know that's going to be a place on the horizon, or were you kind of like, no, I need to just stay here, max this out and ride this wave?
Tenereff, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see it coming towards the end because I was there. I think I left Tenereff around 2004, 2006, and then I got approached by Tony Truman, who's my partner in Ocean and many businesses we have together, all of our businesses really. And this is how me and Tony started our journey together. He said, we need to open a Linekers in Ibiza. And I was hearing a lot about Ibiza then. It kept popping up. So I thought, yeah, let's do it. So I flew over. We found the premises, and then we opened Linekers in 2008. And back then there was no daytime venues, so everybody used to meet at the bars. The bars were really, really thriving back then, and so yeah, we were killing it. I had my bar in Tenereff, I had one in Mallorca, I had one in Ayia Napa, I had one in Cyprus, and all Linekers, and then we opened Ibiza, and that went really well. So that was the start of the whole journey is for our group, really, myself and Tony. And then my son, Dwayne, who's also a partner, he came over, ran the bar in Linekers, and then when I gave him a percentage of it, and then we all opened Ocean Beach Ibiza with Maxi and Tony, yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things, mate, finding the right people, isn't it, to grow businesses. Like with you, with Tony, again, I would always say, like, without Tony, you probably wouldn't be you now, and without you, Tony probably wouldn't be him. How did you two meet?
Yeah, it was in Marbella.
Was it?
Actually, it was in Marbella. Yeah, we were. It wasn't Tenereff, it was Marbella, because we had the Linekers Port Banús, and I kept hearing his name pop up because he was very big in parties and events, and he was throwing a few. I went to a party once he held in Marbella. I think that was probably the time I met him. In the hills, it was in a mansion. It was amazing. I'm like, then we just started getting to know each other, and then he said to me, let's open a Linekers in Ibiza. Yeah, but yeah, it's mad how it started. And then once we'd opened that, we were sat in a swimming pool in Marbella, funny enough, around 2010, 2011. He said, we need to open a beach club. Because like I said, there was no daytime venues. It was, it's sort of, we were right at the start of the daytime venues and parties. And then same thing, we came to Ibiza, because we already had Linekers then. It was already open 4 years, so we're pretty established on the island already, or even though in a small way. And then we opened, it went, and he said, I found a premises, come and meet me. Met him, I stood on the street up here and looked over, and it's an old wedding venue. It was just a Spanish family that had it. But they were coming up to the end of their retirement. It was like, it was a wedding venue. It's like just grass everywhere. And so we were like, oh my God, this is it. This is the one.
Perfect.
And right on the sea. I mean, you could never find a premises like this again.
I've been around the world in different bars and that, and like even when you go to the Dubai, place like Dubai and that, they can hit, but something about Ibiza that steals your heart.
It's Ibiza, yeah. I mean, it's a magic. We call it the Magic Island. The energy on the island's amazing. And right in the smack in the front line of San Antonio. So we were like buzzing, but it wasn't, the original premises we had wasn't big enough. It was 2/3 of this. And the other third, the other end there, VIP, was another restaurant owned by the same family. So I said, Tony, it needs to be bigger. So we approached them. Turned out they were the same families. They also wanted to sell that. So we did a deal on the two. And then we got them both, and then flattened everything out, cleared everything out. It was like, oh my God, it's too big. Fucking hell, what are we going to do with this? I'm like, but anyway, by the time.
I've seen the pictures of when it was just like land and all that. That. I'll try and put them on the screen here because that looked mad when you were standing there.
Yeah, it's like literally like a football pitch. It's that big. But by the time you've put everything in and back a house and your offices, your toilets, all the beds and, it worked. But yeah, it's mad.
How much would you say of like your success now? Because again, like people who've been to oBeach know how successful it is, mate. Again, congrats. Fuck, it's class, mate. I've got to get a drink after this when I'm here. Like, but mate, do you know what? Like, how much would you say of this is luck? As in location, as in right place, right time, as in, right partnerships? Or would you say, no, actually, if I was anywhere, I could make this work because I've got previous in making these nights pop off?
It's a combination, really. I mean, I do believe you make your own luck in this world. There's no coincidences. I think me and Tony met for a reason, and but yeah, I mean, the location obviously helps. It's prime. But San Antonio back then was struggling. It was getting bad press. It was. The hotels weren't of the standard they are now, and San Antonio now is the place to be.
Yes, of course.
Whereas back in 2012 when we opened, it was everyone was going to Playa del Bossa.
Yeah.
But that's now shifted. Everyone's coming to San Antonio now.
Yeah,
We've got all the new 5-star hotels opened there, Arcu and places like that. And you're not allowed now in San Antonio to build anything less than a 5-star hotel. If you're going to build a hotel, it has to be 5-star. So the government here in the town hall have played a big part in the rebirth of San Antonio. But I think we've played a big part as well. A lot of people now, believe it or not, go online, book their beds, see when they can get a bed, because it's not always easy now to get a bed. You've got to be really early to book up. And then they'll book the holiday around the beds at Ocean.
I know people
they'll
who
get
come
the
here.
flight after. They'll get the accommodation after that. But the first thing now is getting a bed at Ocean.
Mate, do you know what I think it's mad? Like, because I've done it. I mean, I flew in just to come here, then I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that.
Yeah, well, you are doing a podcast with me.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But still, though, mate, like
yeah.
it is what I mean. From England, it's a couple hours on the plane.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a lot of work up and down the country,
so
mate, and it's
because I mean,
it's closer to get here.
Yeah, it's so easy to get to, you know. So yeah, we're very, very fortunate at the moment.
That's
we're
one
on
of
the
the
crest of a wave. We're literally on fire. But,
on your journey, Wayne, obviously I want to touch on, again, because I know that there's a lot of people who listen and watch who will be in business, they'll be just starting up, there'll be young lads who look at people like yourself thinking, fuck, I want to be like Wayne, for whatever reason, but that's what they want. What's it like, the dark days and the adversity? Because you must have faced some shit times, mate, because it's not always going to be, you know what I mean? It's not always going to be bells and whistles and that type of stuff.
Yeah. It's all been bells and whistles, to be honest.
Has it really?
Until COVID, yeah.
Yeah.
Then it absolutely killed us, you know, like beyond belief, you know, like, you know, we're talking about 20 odd businesses, all in hospitality. So we got absolutely destroyed. But so that was the low point for me, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I walked in here, like there's history's today, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we've had it I think since the start. And it's probably our biggest day now. And I walked in here, it just called quarantine. And it was like in August. It was in August, yeah. So I walked in here 7 o'clock on a history night. Was normally like completely full, can't move, everyone dancing, singing, going mad, having the time of their lives. I walked in here 7 o'clock, 2 beds taken, 2 beds. There's 14 people in the venue. Like, I've just broke my heart. It was like,
fucking hell, man.
It's not so much the financial side, but to see the public having that moment taken away from them for something just completely bizarre. And then 221 came. It was a tiny bit better, but it was still like not even a quarter full every day. And then finally it went away. And last year was unbelievable. And this year's even more unbelievable.
How do you deal with it? Like them, like do you like? Is it a case of we might have to fucking maybe change direction, pivot, or do you think we'll persevere?
It got to that because you know we're worried. Where's this going to go? You know, when's it going to end? Is it going to end? You know, as the world's going to change dramatically.
Yeah, of course.
But thank goodness it went away. But it was tough. We had, you know. When you've got as many businesses as we have, managing them all, juggling them all around and trying to do the best with each one you possibly can, it's not easy. You know, that most of that responsibility falls on my son's head, Dwayne's. He sort of runs the back end of the business. Tony does all the events and blah, blah, blah. And I take all the credit.
So, mate, the thing is, like, how old are you now, Wayne? 61?
61, yeah.
61-year-old, right?
Still a baby.
You're still a baby, mate. Spring chicken. And it's like, how do you, from a mental side of things, obviously, I think I read somewhere, mate, do you take something like 400 selfies a day or something like that? Some mad shit, isn't it?
Between 300 and 400, yeah, every day.
So you've got to be up there with probably one of the most, or the most photographed.
I think I'm the most photographed person in the world. in
the
world. I can't fathom how anyone else could possibly be as photographed as me.
Yeah. How do you deal with that though? Like in the mind, is it something you still love? Is it like, for fuck's sake, I've got to do more photos, I've got to keep up the image, or is it like, because you must come into work sometimes and be a bit.
It started like, I don't know, people started asking for pictures back in 2012, and I thought, oh, this is fun, this is cool, and then the next year it got more, and the next year it got more, and now it's a thing.
Yeah,
you know, you've not been to Ibiza unless you've had a picture of where Lineker.
Fucking mad, isn't it?
You know, I'll go to the shops. I'm 10 minutes in the supermarket. Oh, even kids and families are all running up to me asking for pictures and like.
Do you get that in England as well?
Not really, just on Ibiza. I mean,
mad,
if I go to clubs in England, I think it's a holiday thing. It's become a thing to get my pick in it. It's mad,
that's it.
But I do enjoy it. But sometimes it's, you know, I have to pick my times. I can't walk in here at 7 at night or 8 at night and everyone's on me and they're all pissed. Do you know what I mean? They're all
Get
got
your
their
photos
arms
out the
around
way
me
type of
and,
thing.
You know, I like to come in the afternoon and when everyone's nice and, you know, if they want a picture, then I'm more than happy to give it them, because even if I can make someone's holiday 1% better, then I'm happy to take that pic. But I'll never, ever, ever say no. Never.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I can't. It's not in me.
I know you say a lot, like, be humble, and that's just testament to you as a person, innit?
Yeah.
Well, even doing that now.
Yeah, I would just find it so uncomfortable to say, "Oh no, sorry, I'm too busy."
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I get that, mate.
You know.
That must be.
So
mad.
I have a security guard now, Denver, my personal security. He comes around me, stands away, but you know sometimes people get a little bit too excited.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet you get to Larry and E at some points. Like, to be fair,
I've had some funny ones as well. A guy took a picture of me. It was a few years ago now. And he had his ball sack hanging out. And I had no idea. And he's posting it. I thought, that's just too funny.
You should have got yours out and you got to join him.
But I didn't know, did I? I didn't know. So I'm having pictures up with him. He's got his ball sack out. Look hilarious.
Obviously, again, you're the guy to get the photo with, mate. And what I will say as well, you obviously, a lot of girls are going to come your way. I'm not saying, I don't know how it works, but you probably got your pick. You at least you got your fair share.
I don't know.
How do you manage that? How do you manage that? Because obviously, I know. Are you single now?
Yeah.
How do you manage that? Like when you've got all these birds around you and stuff like every day. Is that something that I've got to stay professional. It's not something I want to try and get involved with. I don't want to mix with people like, is it actually a case of, no, actually, I'm still looking for love. I'm still looking for someone if the right person comes in. Or do you think the Mrs. Lineker isn't in oBeach?
I hope she is, because I don't go anywhere else.
That's fair enough. Like,
but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I am looking for that person, but it's so difficult with me. My business I'm in. I mean, who's going to put up with me? I mean, hundreds of pictures a day with girls, and but I would, if I found the right person, then I would calm my social life down. I'd just come for an hour or so, and but as I'm single, you know, this is on my doorstep. I've got 1,000 girls in bikinis every day in here.
I was going to say,
I'm not going to sit in and watch Loose Women, am I? Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. You've been on Loose Women before, haven't you? What was that for again? That was mad, wasn't it?
They spoke about me. I was about my criteria for a woman.
And what was that?
It was a long. You put it on the podcast, but I just sat in the restaurant one day and wrote what I would like in a woman, and it was quite funny, I got to admit. And it went viral. It went well viral. There was blogging about it in Australia and everything. And that was the start of my journey with Celebs Go Dating because of that. And all of a sudden now, big things about dating Wayne Lineker. But yeah, it was funny.
I think that's the thing, mate. I think with you, Wayne, I think obviously you're a brand in itself as well, which will add to the business, will add to all the kind of ventures that you're involved in and stuff. How does that work from a social media and profile point of view? Do you feel like the bigger you get as a person, the more success a business can have? Or do you think actually you don't need to be on social and still smash it? Or do you think social is something you need now?
I'm on my social media and I post stuff that I want to post because I enjoy doing it. Yeah. I don't do it for business reasons. Obviously, I know that Ocean wouldn't be what it is today or without my social media presence. So I used to pump as much as possible into the birth of Ocean, and it's sort of grown from there.
Do you think with social, obviously you've become like a household name, you're a brand in itself, Wayne Lineker is,
Yeah.
Do you feel like because you've built your social media, do you feel like now because of that, any kind of business venture you go into will become successful, or do you think actually you don't need to be on social to smash it in business, or do you think it's part of what you need now?
It's definitely part of what we need. Social media is so big now.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, when I open new businesses like Big Puts, I've just opened with Callum Best and my son Sean. We push it on my socials and Callum's socials, and it's already known by the people that come into Ibiza before they come. Mm-hmm. So it's very important. But I like to mix my social media. I don't want it all about business, or I like to have a lot of fun on there.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes a bit too controversial, which I've learnt my lesson on. I've calmed down a lot on controversial posts because I've trended quite a few times on Twitter.
I think you trended above the Queen, didn't you?
Yeah. We did
Who does that, man?
I know it's mad.
Who does that, man?
Do you know? I know exactly what it is. It's a debate. As soon as you enter a debate on Twitter, like some like, some don't, some like, some don't. Then it just goes and goes and goes. People have just sat there all day, just putting their comment in, and the hashtag Wayne Lineker. It was so prominent that weekend because of we did a tribute to the Queen, and it was a little bit over the top, should we say. We didn't realise at the time, because we do a London tribute every week, but we did a special one for the Queen when she passed away. But the problem was, we had the Beefeater girls, walking up to the stage and parading on the stage in thongs.
Aye.
So someone's got hold of it and gone, whoa, this is not right. And then it just went mad. It just went absolutely crazy.
Do you think that favoured you?
Any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
As long as it's not,
So how would you feel if Instagram went tomorrow? What would be your first sort of plan of action? Would it be to just keep going as usual? Where would you go in terms of your outreach? Or do you think you've built up the brand enough for people to not need that now?
I don't think we need it anymore. We like it. Obviously, social media presence is very important. You're talking about 1,500 pictures a day. Everyone that comes to Ocean puts a picture on their main feed, and it's all over their stories. That's a lot of people seeing that every day.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a few stories as well, isn't it?
It's not just their followers; it gets shared, and this, that, and the other. People's posts are getting shared all day long, and the social media presence of Ocean is, I think it's at least double or triple any other club in the world.
It's mad that, and obviously as well, you've got profiles and stuff who come here. I seen the crack with Ed Sheeran when he turned up that night.
Yeah. Oh, that was the.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
Crazy.
Was that random, by the way?
Random as fuck, yeah.
Was it actually?
It comes most years. He's got a group of friends from school that he's took away every single year since he left school. He hires a jet, comes into Ibiza, comes straight to Ocean, and goes back to the jet and goes home. But he does it every couple of years with his mates. He's not been this year, but he came last year. And he's quite good friends with Tony and myself, but mainly Tony. And but we sat, three of us, and he's gone to Tony. He said, I fancy singing. Like, the venue was full. The venue was completely full. And
I bet you Tony shit and brick thinking, fuck me.
He was like, I really fancy singing a few songs. Is that okay? And we were like, yeah, go on then. And within 20, it's funny because the day they did it, we had all the musicians in, the violinist, the guitarist, the saxophone. They were all in. And so within 20 minutes, we got the stage ready. We got everything ready. Then he rocked up on stage, and he sang a couple of Spice Girls songs. He sang Sweet Caroline.
I bet you that went off.
Unbelievable. He was diving in the crowd. Ed Sheeran, man. Like,
that is mad,
Ed
that
Sheeran. And it just went worldwide viral in the press. It was everywhere. And yeah, and I stood on stage that day. That was the moment. My moment. So if I had one big moment in the 11 years we've been open, it was that. I just stood there on stage watching Ed Sheeran dive into the crowd.
At a place that you've created.
Yeah, and I just felt so happy for the people that were there because it was so random.
That's mad, mate. Imagine that's value for money, innit? You know what I mean? You come here, you've got a bed, the next thing you know, Ed's there.
That's shit, yeah.
Man, that's fucking mental, that, mate. Absolutely
crackers. It was a great moment, yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned how Ed sort of brought his friends, his school friends who he's always took away and stuff. What's your sort of social group like, Wayne? Obviously, when you were younger and stuff and kind of going into business and all that type of stuff, entrepreneurship can be a very lonely road. Do you have a select few friends? Because I know you know a lot of people, but how many friends do you actually have?
I'd like to say a lot, but obviously I've got certain people that are more close to me than anyone, Callum Best, obviously, and Scott Cummins, and, people that I know I could always turn to,
Dean Gaffney.
Aston Evans, Gaffney, of course. But yeah, I've got a lot of friends, but there's only, it's difficult. It's difficult to know what people want all the time. Are they, are they hanging on to you?
Yeah, that's it.
You know you're going to go straight to the front of the queue in the clubs, and
you're gonna get that, aren't you?
How do you fish that out?
I kind of can read people a lot better now because I've been let down in the past, on a few occasions, but now I sort of read people a lot better, and I step back and think what they really want. But yeah, my circle of friends have been my friends for a long time. Yeah, like 20 years.
Have you ever had to sort of cut people off along the way as well to kind of focus on the mission? Do you know what I mean? Because I know certainly, like when I was growing up, mate, for me to pursue what I'm doing, there was certain people that they weren't bad people, but they just weren't into the same things as me, or there was maybe pulling us away from business. Has that happened with you?
Not really. I've not really had to do that. I have business-wise, like there's business partners in the past I've had to cut off. But friends, right? Friends, I believe, you can spend as much time as your friend and yourself want to spend with each other, It's up to you. So yeah, I'm not really had to do that.
See, how do you manage being a dad? Obviously, you've got your sons doing amazing things. Obviously, again, partners of the business. You've got Freddie, mate. I want to say, like, good-looking kid, DJing out there, world ahead of him. Obviously, again, you're going to be his role model. How does that feel, and how do you manage being a dad? Is it like it comes with the territory of, like, I'm going to bring them in here, this is kind of my lifestyle, or is it a case of, actually, I've got to try and separate it a bit?
We're a really, really close family. I mean, Dwayne, my partner here, he's the father of the relationship, and I'm still the son, because he's got his head
He tells you what
on.
to do.
Yeah, he tells me what to do, and he sort of manages my money and blah, blah, blah. And I've got Sean, who's my partner in Skinny Kitchen and Big Puts.
Yeah.
He's just such a lovely kid. So I'm very proud of him. And Tia, my daughter, is doing really, really well. She's
blown up on Instagram and all, isn't she?
Yeah, she's blown up on Instagram. She's got a huge following, and it's in fashion. She's shot with, some Yves Saint Laurent and people like that. And
unbelievable.
And then I got Freddie. So the final piece of the jigsaw.
Is he at uni?
He's at Liverpool Uni, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's trying to manage that with his DJing. So he said to me, like, it was like only 4 months ago. He said, Dad, I think I want to be a DJ. Because he's always loved music. He's music. As soon as he gets in my car, he puts his stick in and off we go.
Yeah.
He just plays and plays music. He's done that since he was probably 10 years old. And so I said, okay, cool. He said, I really want these decks. Can you buy them? I said, look, they're not a toy, Fred. I don't want you to buy them. And then 2 weeks later, you're not
sack it off type of thing. Yeah.
But he's literally not stopped practicing, and now he's getting gigs, and everybody wants him to play. And I think he'll be the biggest DJ in the UK by his 25.
Mate,
he's so good. He's so good.
How old is he again?
He's 19.
19. Do you know what's mad?
His feet.
Do you see you in him when you were young?
Everything. He is me.
Is he?
He literally is me. He looks like me. He acts like me. He parties like me. Everything about him, his mannerisms, everything.
That's unbelievable.
He's literally me, more than any of my other children. He's a carbon copy of me, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And look at the future he's going to have, man.
He's got a mad future.
It's mental, isn't it? Do you ever worry about that sometimes? Do you think he could be too big, like?
It is a worry at such a young age, He's 19, and he's getting all of a sudden he's got all this attention on him, and so we do have to have moments where I have little chats, but yeah, he's a good kid. He's super humble. He's the nicest boy. He says such nice things. His mum's done a great job bringing him up. She keeps him in his. I
was gonna say, because like he looks like, and I've never met Freddie, but he obviously, again, good looking lad, looking after himself, DJing. He's obviously got the blinkers on, very driven, wants to succeed, dedicated to his craft, the DJing thing. At uni, you can tell it's like humble. Again, it's that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll see a lot of people who've got kids and stuff who go on like bit dicks, don't they? Like, you know what I mean? And you see someone like him who just looks incredibly humble on social, comes across bang on.
It's so lovely. I'm
it's
so
nice
proud
to have
of
that,
him.
mate.
He'll always say hello to people. He's always polite. And, he's got a big chance, that boy.
Do you think you kind of pass on what you were brought up like to him?
Yeah, all my children are humble. I'm a humble. If I'm anything, I'm humble. I'll always believe treat people like you want to be treated yourself, and I've always took that through my life. And and I'll always be polite to people. And I think my family have seen that. They're all the same. They're all exactly the same. So I'm very proud of them for that.
Yeah. What do you think with oBeach? What do you think the kind of future's like for this place? Like, what do you want from it? What have you got? Have you got a goal to kind of take a step back? Is it something you want to just keep doing what you're doing? Is it
Myself, I'll be here on my Zimmer frame in 30 years' time.
I know you will.
Taking pictures. Don't worry about that. I've got no intention of not coming to Ocean because I love it so much. I'm so proud of it. But the future for us, we are expanding. We're moving into Dubai now. It's been on the cards for years, but because of COVID and certain other things, it got delayed and we lost certain venues. And now we think we've found our next venue. So
in Dubai?
Yeah, watch this space. Hopefully we'll be open early next year.
Fucking hell, early next year?
Hopefully, yeah.
Quick turnaround, that, like, isn't it? Then again, if it's been on the cards for a while, it's
been on
something
the
you've been...
cards, yeah. I mean, yes, we've put a lot of work into trying to get a location. It's very difficult to get a location in Dubai. But my partner Maxie and my son Dwayne, think they've found the perfect place now.
For people who don't know you, Wayne, and they see stuff on social, but they don't know you personally, because again, I've met you, I've spent this time with you, and you can just tell straight away. You're a humble bloke, you're a nice lad. You can tell deep down what you like, and that's again, it's why I wanted you on, because I knew we'd have a good chat straight away. Kind of like with everything that you've got going on and the lifestyle that you've got to live, do you have to drink every day, or do you not? Is it something that it maybe looks like you do? Because it definitely looks like you party every day. Is that sober ever?
It's difficult. If I'm going to be here all day, then I've got to drink really, because I need to be on the same level or some kind of same level as everybody else. Everyone wants to talk to me, and everyone wants me to come to their bed, and that's not easy to do sober.
Yeah,
especially when they're drunk.
Yeah, of course.
So I do drink most days, but I've calmed down a lot over the last few years to what I was like. But it's still in me.
How do you stay in shape?
I'm just really lucky.
Do you eat well?
I eat whatever I want.
Obviously, you've got Skinny Kitchen.
I eat whatever I want, whenever I want to eat it. I never put weight on.
Have you always been that way anyway?
I take these things called ketones. They're unbelievable. I take one sachet every morning. And since I've been doing that, I can just eat what I want. And yeah, it's mad.
Mate, I'm going to ask you, right? Do you dye your hair white?
No, it's
no.
Pure.
Is it pure Euro?
100%.
It's like mate, I'm seeing loads of young lads looking with that colour. It's mad. Like, I'm thinking, is he dyeing his hair here? Like,
no, there's not one dark hair in there. It's completely white, silver. Yeah.
That's fucking mental. How old were you when you started getting your white hairs in?
Late 30s, mid 30s.
Fucking hell.
It's just progressed, and now it's
That's mad, that mate. Out of your kind of connections, mate, all your profiles and stuff, who would you say is the most influential person that you know? And when I say that, I mean with the biggest impact on your life, not family included.
The person that had the biggest impact on my life was a guy called Joe Correnta. When I first went to Tenereff in 86, 87, I met this guy called Joe. He owned a place called Bobby's Bar, and he was like the king. He was like, everyone wanted to speak to him, and he was so flamboyant and such a nice guy, and I got friendly with him, and he was the guy that I looked up to. I said, I want to be this man. I want to be this man, and I think I've succeeded. But yeah, he's the person that's had the biggest impact on my life, as business-wise, anyway.
What about celebrity friends? Who would you say is the biggest celebrity that you know?
Well, judging by, it has to be Conor McGregor.
Mate, I seen that as well when he turned up here. Did you plan that, like?
His team always let us know he's coming.
Yeah.
And we obviously accommodate him and look after him. And last year, I think it was last year, he came with all his family and his friends, and there was about 30 of them. We looked after them. But it's his entrance is spectacular. He's got all security guards around him, every single person shouting him, and he's absolutely huge, Conor McGregor.
Did he replace you for selfies? Were you thinking, fuck, I'm out of a job here?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He won't do them.
Shut up, man. Will you not do them?
If he does one, he's got to do 1,000.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
he's here for a day out, and I understand it. And that's why he has his security guard, so no one can get at him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I get one. I get the big pick every time. But I did. I actually walked him in last time, and we did a reel of it, and it went mad. Yeah,
fucking mad.
Got millions of views, but the presence of him is like I've never seen anyone.
Yeah.
Even your Ed Sheerans and this, they're huge, but something about Conor McGregor that, that's unique.
I remember you saying in something I watched about kind of when you were doing the Linekers bars in Tenereff and stuff, you realised that the reason what you want to do that what other people weren't doing, people were dancing and stuff, and the bouncers were flinging them out and stuff, and obviously you want to kind of change that. It was
a big thing because that's the thing that made Linekers so successful. Because at that time, I mean, the security was so aggressive. Like, you used to invite them into your business, get them pissed, get them to spend all the money. And then as soon as you do one thing wrong, you throw them out in the street. Like I'm like, well, that's not right. That's not right.
Yeah.
So I changed it. I got all nice security, all friendly security. We had meetings every few days to make sure we're nice to people, if they're drunk. And they were like, as soon as someone stood on a table or a chair, you used to get thrown out. And so I thought, I'm gonna let them dance on the tables. I'm gonna let them stand on the bar top. I'm gonna let them do whatever they want. If they want to stand on the seats and have a dance, then let them stand on the seats.
Exactly.
What's the problem? But everyone was doing it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is great!" So everyone was coming.
It's like
to
you're being let off in it. You're allowed to do shit.
Yeah, it's like it was honestly, it was so bad then, and we turned it around and completely turned it around. I thought, let's let them do what they want and see what happens, and it just went busier and busier and busier. And by the time everyone had realised and thought, shit, we should do that, it was too late. We had all the crowd then.
Yeah. So how do you manage that now then? Because obviously mate, like I know what this place is like, and you never see any hostility or anything like that. It's always just chill. Everyone's here to just have fun. Yeah. How do you kind of manage that then, other than just having great security? Do you think it's the brand you've created and people know we're going here, we're going for a good time, we're not messing around?
It is still a constant battle for the security to be humble, which is what we want. But every now and again, incidents happen. But it's how they're dealt with. So it is a never-ending battle. But we do really, really want everybody to have a great time and enjoy themselves, and come back again. So yeah, I mean, the size of this place is we've got so many security. So it's difficult keeping on top, but we've got a security manager called Iñaki. He's fantastic. It's so much better now than it used to be. Even in here, we used to have incidents. We're like, you've got to be more calm, and it is difficult to control. But we have got a great team now. Yeah.
I just want to ask you another thing, Wayne. Obviously, with the kind of control and everything you've put in place and the brand you've built and the success you've had for young lads, mate, in business, and again I'm trying my hardest to try and help people, because obviously I've been in business for quite a few years now, and I know how hard it is and it can be lonely and stuff. When you took risks and stuff along the way, do you think it's necessary, if there's a young lad who's hungry, they don't know much about business, because again, when you opened a bar, you'd never did it before, would you say that you've got to take that risk and go for it regardless?
Absolutely. You've got to risk. If you think the risk's worth it and you've studied it enough and thought about it enough, if you don't take that risk, you'll never know, will you? You'll never know. But the risk has to be, doable.
Yeah, of course.
Know what I mean, everyone has these pipe dreams, and I have them myself about some things, and I'll go to my son Dwayne and he'll say, Dad, it's not going to happen. It's not, so yeah, I mean, have your dream, take your risk if it's worth risking. If there's a possibility of it being a success, then you've got to go balls deep. You've got to go all the way. You can't just go. You've got to go right in.
Of course, mate. Wayne, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, mate. Honestly,
no, it's a pleasure.
You've made the whole trip come to Ibiza. I literally flew in just for this, so I do want to thank you, mate. It's,
you can thank me by buying a vodka Rebel.
What's your favourite drink?
I normally have my first drink of the day. Normally is a vodka Rebel, and then I'll have a glass of wine at lunch.
Oh, then let's get.
And then a couple of vodka cranberries and and then a wine at dinner.
Do you like a ginger beer and vodka or something? No.
I used to drink vodka ginger beer, yeah. But
Mad mix, isn't it?
It's quite nice actually. I might have one of them today actually. But yeah, no. Yeah, it's always vodka or wine, nothing else. But
let us get you a drink, mate.
Okay, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for your time,
one.
Win.